Hello, dear students. Please open page 35 to answer the questions of Chapter 9 of Treasure Island. The first question deals with the vocabulary of the chapter. Choose the correct word. Bahir has grown so tall that he can catch or he can reach the top window now. Which one should you choose? Yes, he can reach. Because catch means he uses his hand to hold something or to catch something, but it's to reach certain thing. Number 2, all the tourists stood on the deck or on the mast of the ship when they sailed into Alexandria. All the tourists stood on the deck. It means on the roof of the ship, or the mast, of course. Number 3, this table isn't flat, or this table isn't shallow, so I can't do my homework on it. When we describe the table, you can't say shallow. You'll say the table is flat. Because shallow describes what? Yes, it describes the water. If the water is not deep, so we describe it saying it's shallow, which means that you can reach the bottom easily and quickly. Number 4, Angie can't play basketball today because she hurt her shoulder or she hurt her neck. Of course, she hurt her shoulder. Number 5, after the accident, we put a bandage or a wound on Hatem's arm. Of course, we put the bandage on the wound. We don't put the wound. Number 6, I tried to paddle or to dive the small boat alone. What do you do when you move a boat, a small boat? You don't dive, of course, under the water. No, you paddle. Now let's shift to number 2. This goes with the incidents of the chapter. Choose the correct answer. What happened to Bengan's boat? Bengan's boat, which was taken by Jim. Do you remember? You have 4 options. The Hispaniola hit it and it went into the sea. Number B, Jim sailed it to the north of the island. Number C, Hans took it. Number D, the wind blew it away. Which one is the correct answer? Yes, it's number A. The Hispaniola hit it and it went into the sea. How do we know that? You remember when the waves were very high and the wind was strong and Jim was sailing the boat. He was about to be hit by the ship when he found a rope on the side of the ship and he caught it and jumped onto the ship before it hit the boat. Number 2, who did Jim find on the Hispaniola? Who? Was it Hans? Was it Silver, Joyce, or Bengan? Of course, it was Hans, who was fighting with another pirate, remember? Number 3, What did Jim give the pirate? A bandage, some water, food, or all of the above? Of course, all of the above. He gave him water first. After that, he gave him a bandage and food. When they made the deal together, that Hans would help Jim sail the ship. Number 4. How did Jim escape from the pirate? He ran onto the island. He climbed up the mast. He went down to the bottom of the ship, or he went to the deck again. Of course, he climbed up the mast to escape from the pirate, who was holding a knife and intending to kill Jim. What happened after Hans threw a knife at Jim? Jim shot Hans. He shot him with the gun, or the mast fell, or the knife hit him on the shoulder, or both A and C, which means Jim shot Hans and the knife hit him on the shoulder. Of course, that's the correct answer, both of them. Number 3, which is the best description of Hans? If you want to describe this character, what should you say? Number 1, he is a clever, strong, and dangerous man. He persuades Jim to take the Hispaniola to the island and nearly succeeds in hurting Jim. This is the first description. The second description, he's not very clever and he's not very honest because he tries to hurt Jim with the knife. He is also strong because he runs after Jim, although he has many wounds. The third description, he's very weak because of his wounds and he needs a lot of help. However, he is a very good sailor and can take the Hispaniola around the island on his own, means by himself. He's friendly and tries to help Jim. Tell me, which description describes Hans best? Which is the best one? Yes, I'm sure you choose number 2. He's not very clever, as Jim described him. And he's not very honest, of course, because he tries to hurt Jim with a knife. He's also strong because he runs after Jim when he wanted to kill him, although he has many wounds in his leg. Now, number 4. Discuss the questions. Number 1. Which of the following adjectives can you use to describe Jim in this chapter? And tell me why. Can you say that Jim is a brave man, or a kind man, or a clever man, or a strong one? Of course, you describe him being a brave man. Why? Why we can describe him as being brave? You remember when he climbed onto the ship? He didn't know who was inside the ship. It could be a lot of bad pirates who could kill him easily, but he was brave enough to save himself from the waves and the wind and from being hit by the ship and climbing into the ship. We also can't describe Jim as being clever. Why do you think Jim is clever? Remember when Hans asked him to bring him more water? Jim thought and was sure that Hans was not honest and that Hans could hurt him, could plan to get rid of him. That's why he got rid of his shoes and walked slowly and quietly in a place where he could watch Hans. And he really could watch him. He could find him walking, although he was hurt, although he had the wound in his leg, but Jim saw him walking and getting a knife to kill him, of course. So, unless Jim was clever enough to move to that place where he could watch Hans, he wouldn't have known that he could be killed by Hans. Number 2, of course I'll sail the ship wherever you want to go. Who was talking? Yes, it's Hans. It's Hans pretending to be obedient to Jim, to follow his order, and to do whatever he wanted. What direction did Jim want him to take the ship to? Jim wanted Hans to take the ship to the north of the island, where he could meet his friends again, he could go to the fort again. Next, did he really help Jim? How? Of course he helped Jim, because Jim couldn't sail the ship himself. But Hans helped him sail the ship, and it went quickly towards the north of the island. Number 3, I went downstairs, made a lot of noise, then took off my shoes and went quietly to another part of the ship. Why does Jim do this? As we said before, he was clever enough to do this in order to be able to watch Hans without being seen. What does this tell you about him? Again, we concentrate on the character of Jim being clever. If he wasn't clever enough, Hans would have seen him watching him when he took the knife, intending to kill him. That's it. Very good. You answered all the questions, I'm sure, and all of them are correct, I'm also sure. Thank you and goodbye.